Hey everybody, good afternoon. It's Ben Capozzi with Broad Shoulders Farm. Today is Wednesday, March 2nd. Happy day after Fat Tuesday. Laissez le bon temps rouler, my friends. Well, of course, today's Ash Wednesday, so maybe you should have got all your rouleing in last night or your bon temps. But be that as it may, we're here in beautiful Halifax County, Virginia, Zone 7. And I've been working on a project for about 3 days now, and it's one of those things where every day I intend to make a video, but I don't get around to it because it's like, do you make a video and not make progress on the project, or do you do the project and skip the video? And I've just been doing the latter, but today I'm going to go ahead and do a quick video because I'm like 2/3 of the way done, so I think I can finish it tomorrow. And there's enough done here that I can talk about it and still do some subsequent videos about it. But this is a thing that I've wrestled with for a few years since I really started, and I'm sure other folks who raise flocks do the same. The feed bill. We buy a non-GMO chick feed from Sunrise Farms up in Stewart's Draft, Virginia. It's the place that Joel Salatin helped get started, that you read about in his books and other things. But they're great. I've been with them since I started in 2018. They deliver just about 30 minutes up the road, even though they're several hours away. So it's great, but it's expensive. We do about 15 bags of feed a month for my flock. That doesn't include supplemental things like the kitchen scraps from Southern Plenty for the retirement hens. Doesn't include bags of sunflower seeds or whole corn, or up until recently, organic wheat that used to be a huge part of our operation. But we finished up the last of the organic wheat about mid-January, and we're very fortunate that we have a local farm, Tuck Farms in Virgilina, which we've been getting wheat from for years. This is the first time in more than a decade that they have run out. So Ralph told me before Christmas that he'd saved a little bit more for me, but they wouldn't have any until June. And I was getting a really good deal on that, and it really helped supplement the feed for the animals. I try to give them a conventional feed, and then I supplement it with a whole grain, sunflower seeds, whole corn, wheat. They don't like barley, they don't like oats. I've tried all of those. I can't afford roasted soybeans. So it's been a challenge. It's the thing that I've been thinking about. And so I've come back to something that I read in a book by Carol Deppe a few years ago, and that's what I'm going to work with. Let me pause because I have to go and take care of an errant pair of geese real quick, and then I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Anyhow, what I was saying is the kernel of the idea for this came from a book by Carol Deppe. She's a very smart lady, and I highly recommend her book, The Resilient Gardener. I've talked about this book before, but in it she talks about growing 5 crops to sustain herself, her family, and her farm, including her livestock. And that is, the 5 crops are duck eggs, corn, squash, beans, and potatoes. And it's a great book. Highly, highly recommend it. But in it, she talks about how the nutrient profile of potatoes is such that you could almost use that as a primary feed for a poultry flock. She doesn't do that though. She does. She describes it as a cafeteria style, which is one of the things I got from her book that I've used here, which is they get a bowl of conventional feed laid out, and then they also get a supplemental whole grain and or a vegetable. That could be summer squash, that could be boiled potatoes, it could be other starchy, carby, or even sweet things. So I really like that idea. I didn't know a whole lot about growing potatoes though, because I trained with, I did the Jean-Martin Fortier masterclass, sorry, keeping an eye on the flock, and he talks about this in his book, The Market Gardener. Don't really bother growing potatoes because they take up too much space, and they are hard to get done kind of competitively. You'll always be able, as a small farmer, you probably won't be able to compete on price for someone who's growing out acres of potatoes. And then he also talks about just the time and the deep tillage that they take. And if you're into Fortier's Market Garden style and others, you're not really a big fan of any kind of tillage, or minimizing tilling as much as possible. You want to preserve the structure of the soil. So I had that, and then I watched this great series of videos from I think it's a husband and wife couple. I think their show on YouTube is Back to Reality, where they talk about planting potatoes in hay, which is a technique that was kind of pioneered by Ruth Stout. And then I also heard Ruth Stout mentioned in a video by Sean and Sasha at Edible Acres, who I talk about all the time because I'm just learning so much from them. And I think you can too. They have a video called Potatoes Erase the Lawn, where they trialed 3 sort of hay-based techniques for growing a lot of potatoes with very little effort and very little input, and certainly a no-till system. So I highly recommend that video. So basically, what I feel like I found from Sean and Sasha is a way to grow a lot of potatoes to feed my flock, to lower my food bill, do it in a way that preserves the soil, and do it in a way that doesn't require a lot of effort. So that's a very long intro to let me show you what I'm working on here. So I have these 2 garden areas here that put in a bunch of hay last year, and then again in January of this year, a friend of the farm, Rachel, came and we put in tons of hay in here to just cover the ground, to suppress weeds, to soak up moisture and muck runoff from the waterfowl area, and mulch the few fruit trees that we're trying to get established in here. And then I wound up closing in this area here as well, which is, you know, May. And it's an awful lot of space. And so the hay bales have been in here rotting for the better part of 2 months. And now the idea is you come back and you part the hay to get down to the soil. So you're not going down super far. I'm just going down to about there where there's bare soil. And then my hands are clean now because I've been wearing gloves all day. I have been working all day, I promise. And then a whole seed potato goes in there, and then I cover it with a scoop of compost. And I recorded another video earlier today, which I will hopefully have the skills to drop in now in my video editing to show you what that looks like. So I've just repurposed one of my feed scoops for the afternoon, and every potato gets about 2 cups. That's 2 baker's cups, not 2 feed scoop cups, but 2 cups. In his video, Sean says 2 gallons, but I watch him do it, and I'm sure he just misspoke, because maybe he's saying 2 quarts or 2 pints is what he meant, but I think he meant 2 cups. Actually, I need to send him an email and confirm that with him, but I mean, that's all I'm doing. A full one of these covers 3 potatoes for me. And we're back from that no doubt amazing video, and when you've got them, once you've got them planted in there like that, then you come back and you cover them over with some more hay or straw or leaves, whatever carbon material you've got. I have tons and tons of bales of organic hay that I buy from Tuck Farms, and you can see these beds over here have been done. So this is a row of Kennebec, and it goes all the way to here and stops right about there. This middle one is Pontiac Red. They're coming through. I'm getting ready to do this part now. If I can finish that bag up today, that'll be fantastic. And then this 3rd row is going to be Yukon Gold. And I picked all of those because those are great varieties. They do well in our area. The local farm supply store, that's not a big box store, but a family store, gets them every year. And in her book, Carol Deppy also has a nice profile. She's farming out in Oregon. And she has a nice profile of the different varieties and why she uses which ones. So again, I highly recommend her book. I think her techniques are adaptable wherever you're living. But Abbott Farm Garden and Gun, which is where I get a lot of my stuff locally, they do bags of seed potatoes. 50-pound bags are 26 bucks. So I got 50 pounds of Pontiac Red. I've already planted 50 pounds of the Kennebec, and I'm going to plant 50 pounds of the Yukon Gold. From what I've read, on average, you should expect about a 10 times yield increase. So if I put in 50 pounds of potatoes in at the end of the season, I should be able to get 500 pounds of potatoes out. 50 pounds of seed potatoes, 500 pounds back out. That would be incredible. I hope that I get something near that. That would be great, because I really want this technique to work, and I believe in this technique. So, you know, fingers crossed that this does the trick. The three varieties that I got from Abbott's also, well, I got the Big Daddy or Daddy Pete's Plant Pleaser compost that's got, I think, like pine shredded pine bark fines mixed in there as well. So it's a pretty good compost. It was like maybe $6 a bag. So I think for less than $100, or around $100, let's say a little bit more if we have to, I got the materials that I think I need to grow, you know, upwards of 1,000 pounds of potatoes, which would be great. As a way to offset my feed bill. There's some other things I'm going to do as I come in here that I can talk about in future videos, but right now the main idea is to get these potatoes in the ground here. These are all varieties that are ready in under 90 days. So my hope is that I can get these in here in March, and they go March, April, May, and at the beginning of June, I pull these up. I see how we've done. Hopefully we've done really, really well. I would love that. And then I'm gonna replace them as they come up. I'm gonna go right back down with millet, Japanese millet, and sunflowers additionally for the birds. Those also are 90-day crops, so I'm gonna let them go June, July, and August. And then my hope is that as I pull those out, and I'll leave some of the sunflowers, especially some that are more like 100-day varieties, that I can go back in with a second round of potatoes and get potatoes September, October, November. We usually don't have our first frost until the first week of November or so now. It used to be the middle of October, and it still could be, but potatoes can handle a light frost, especially if I do a little bit of row cover with them. So, you know, it's an ambitious plan, but I feel like the science or the idea based on the experience of others works out. So we'll see. So that's what's going on. I hope you found this interesting. Let me know what you're doing to save on your feed bill, or to help grow more food for you and your family and those you love. You can follow more about the farm at Broad Shoulders Farm on Facebook and Instagram. Everybody say hey to Gerhardt, who is the shipmate of Reinhardt and two other Niederrheineroos. If you're still in the market for chicks, for spring chicks, highly recommend Niederrheiners. You can probably find some private breeders with them, but I've been getting mine from Murray McMurray. I like them even more than I like Bielefelders, and I'm a big Billy fan. So anyhow, there's that. Questions, concerns, comments, helpful critique, always welcome. I will talk to you folks later, and I'll show you what's coming next here. Hopefully another video in another day or two, where I can talk about the companion plants that are going in here. And then also, I've been doing a ton in the orchard over the last 9 days, and I really need to do an update on that so you can see what's planted out there and how that's shaping up. So more to come. Sorry it's been about 9 days since I've done a video, but I haven't been idle. I just haven't been recording it. All right, wherever you are, whatever you're up to, hope you and those you love are doing well. Take care. Bye-bye.